welcome to Millennial Development Goal number 7, ensuring environmental sustainability in Sudan. And with this Millennial Development Goal, they've kind of split this one into 4 groups as far as points in order to accomplish the goal. And the first is to integrate the principles of sustainable development into a country's policy and programs and reverse the loss of environmental resources. Second is to reduce the biodiversity loss. Third is to have the population without sustainable access to safe drinking water, as well as the basic sanitation needs. And lastly is to improve at least the lives of 100 million slum dwellers. Now in Sudan, here's the zoomed out picture of the entire country. And Sudan is actually a very agriculturally diverse country. Within the country, there's actually about 23.18% of Sudan covered in forests. And the land is very, very fertile. There's a lot of opportunity to grow. And there are really, in Sudan, 3 major types of soil. There's a sandy soil, there's also a very clay-rich soil, and then soil that is very high in litrite, or a litrite soil. And really, in order to the best places to grow agriculturally is in the clay areas, which span really. If you can look at the picture, you'll see very light yellow and then kind of a grayish yellow area, which spans from the Blue Nile, just east of the Blue Nile, all the way to around West Darfur. And if you remember from Millennial Development Goal number 6, kind of where that West Darfur region is, all those tributaries. This area is once again very fertile clay soils, and they are actually able to grow sesame seeds, chickpeas, lentils, peanuts, etc. Lots of very good things that they can export. And the lands that are fertile for growing are about 300 to 400 fedans, which are, in one fedan equals around 1.038 acres. So if that gives you kind of an idea of the acreage, is roughly 300 to 400 acres on which they can grow. And once again, this soil is very fertile, and a lot of it, they can grow a lot. The sandy areas is in that arid region, kind of where the Sahara Desert kind of meets into the northwestern corner of Sudan. This area, because it's so hot, it's really hard for a lot of things to grow. And in all honesty, the only places that they can grow much is places where they can irrigate from the Nile River. So it's not going to span too far into that sandy area, but they can grow some vegetation, which is mostly used for grazing, so like livestock, which is a major contributant to people and their food supply. There's a lot of people who do grazing, and because of the high grazing rates, a lot of plants are eaten up, and it is actually a major cause of the loss of biodiversity in Sudan. And along with a lot of the agriculture, because they're able to grow so much, 80% of Sudanese people are actually in the agricultural business, and because there's so many people in the ag business, the soil is very, very overworked, and because there's a lot more people getting into that in order to support both their families and their communities, there's a lot of deforestation. A lot of forests are being cut back in order for people to be able to plant their crops and to grow the food that they need. And because of that usage, once again, deforestation is a huge issue. A lot of those forests being cut down, and then on top of that, you have desertification occurring, which is the expansion of the desert in the northwestern region is actually cropping out and into those clay regions. And because plants may not be growing back as fast, or you've got the loss of trees, you got a lot of that arid region being able to blow a lot of the clay or the very fertile, rich soil away from the region, so they can't replant in those same areas. And because of that loss of land, agricultural development is having to expand to different areas, and that area is pretty much lost to any kind of growth at that point. So the need to sustain those areas where it's rich in good soils, clays, those nutrients that plants need, the deforestation needs to cease, which requires a government that's going to put these methods into practice of environmental sustainability and regulating what can and can't be planted, to make sure that grounds are not overworked, and then to reforest areas where forests may be getting cut down. Because if they continue to cut down the forests at the rate that they have been, the forest will be gone pretty quick. I mean, they've already sustained a 12% loss of forests in the last 15 years, and a lot of that is due to agriculture, as well as the expansion of livestock usage. So improving cultivating methods and then proper grazing management are going to be the biggest things in improving environmental sustainability as far as biodiversity loss and reducing that component. Another part of the biodiversity loss has been sustained because of the expansion of urban areas, actually. Because of the large amounts of oil production that have started in southern parts of Sudan, it brought a lot of money into the country via China and India. Those countries have invested a lot in the oil industry in Sudan, and because of that, Sudan was able to get in a lot of money, and they were able to build up their cities very, very quickly. And with that lack of care for the environment, they destroyed a lot of good lands, which they could have used for agriculture or things of that nature. So rapid urbanization has been another point in this. And then down to improving drinking water. The Red Sea is probably the worst, and I apologize for this zoom, but we were zooming into the area of the Red Sea just to the west of it, and that area is actually very, very only 27% of people have access to clean drinking water, and the reason why is because they're so far away from the Nile that they really can't get much of it irrigated, and the Red Sea is very, very saline, so it's not drinkable. So a lot of people don't have the access to drinking water. In all honesty, only about 60% of people in Sudan that are considered poor have any access to clean drinking water, whereas 92% of the rich population have ready access to clean drinking water. This disparity between the rich and the poor is a cause for a lot of conflict in Sudan, and is one of the reasons why the government is so corrupt, and why it's not very strong and unable to really incorporate a lot of these things to reduce the loss of biodiversity. So improving the drinking water for all peoples within Sudan is a huge major play in improving just the overall well-being of the people, and therefore encouraging the safety of the environment. And through these methods, Millennium Goal Development 7 can be ensured. And thanks for listening. I appreciate your time.